Hey guys, Vahlkx here, and today I'm going to go over my build for Ultimate Bunny, as well as kind of go over the small tweak I made to my Thunder Cage build. So for all the builds here, you'll see that these 6 mods in the middle are pretty much all the same, and they follow this general idea of having more survivability, damage, and range. So I first start off building with increased HP, Stim Accelerant, and Spear and Shield. This gives me a lot of HP and defense to just have more survivability. Following that, I do focus on electric and focus on singular. This gives me more damage in general, and especially for my third ability right here. And I like using the ones that say focus on because they also provide skill cooldown to help keep constant uptime on the third ability. And lastly, I use skill expansion, and I might as well mention maximize range as well, to just have the kind of max amount of range we can have as Bunny, to just hit more enemies in general, kind of hit them through walls, the floors, and whatnot. Since this build is my kind of MP based one, I do use MP Collector, which helps with MP sustain. And following that, I kind of build for a little bit of skill cost reduction right here. That just helps me run a little bit longer for the MP based build. Now, if you don't have Ultimate Bunny or you don't have high voltage, you can easily take this off and just not use it. But what I would probably recommend is changing Strong Mentality for something like Time Distribution. So this will kind of help make sure that the third ability does have that constant uptime between the cooldown and the duration. For my HP based build, I'll be using Bionic Fuel. Now this one consumes HP instead of MP when you're running around as Bunny, and you want to combine this with HP Collector to just have more sustain for health. Now for the 2 M slots, you're going to want to have Time Distribution here as well as Agony. These both kind of provide more survivability since you are going to be using HP and you're most likely going to see yourself kind of low. And then, it also helps with the cooldown here for keeping the uptime on that third ability. For my bossing build, I'll be using high voltage once again. So this one is just great for doing damage. It really cuts down on time a lot when you're using this. And then for this one, instead of using like HP Collector, MP Collector, I went ahead and used Lethal Infection. So pretty much when I'm hitting a crit, I'll be doing more skill power on the bosses. Now this won't work on a boss that is electric because I believe they're immune. I noticed that on Executioner, but you could probably switch it out if you want to for that. But for the most part, this does work. Now for the boss build, instead of having skill cost reduction here like I do in the MP version, I went ahead and followed the HP version and had more survivability right there because you don't really need skill cost in a boss battle. So I had Time Distribution, again skill cooldown, this helps with the uptime and gives me more max HP. And then Agony, once again, more defense, more survivability. So for my weapon, I mainly use the Thunder Cage. For my substats, I have crit hit damage, electric attack, attack against the Colossus, and firearm attack. I think all these are pretty good for now. I don't see myself changing it anytime soon. But what I did change on my Thunder Cage mods was one of the catalyst slots, so I'll go ahead and show that. So for the most part, everything here is the same as my previous video. The only thing I changed was this slot. I changed it from a C to an M. So instead of having concentrate support ammo, I went ahead and did weak point damage. I actually found this to just have a little bit more damage in general when I was fighting enemies and bosses. So that is a small tweak I did here. And everything else here kind of follows my previous video. So I'm kind of stacking attack, crit damage, finally stacking some weak point damage. Got fire rate, and then again, Firing Fiesta is going to remain here. I really like this a lot for just gunning down the weak points when it does proc, and it does help with ammo consumption as well. So right now my reactor is not the greatest thing right now, so I've got Thunder Cage mounting for just the 160 right there since Thunder Cage is the main weapon. I got Singular boost right there for the third ability, but the substats are pretty lacking. I'd rather have duration and range because having range will make sure I hit the 2.0 max right here, and then duration will also help just make sure you are hitting that uptime on the third ability. But right now this one is pretty much a boss killer one with the Colossus attack. I would rather have 2 separate ones, which is duration and range, and then maybe Colossus and skill power for electric, but I will work up towards that eventually. So the way I have everything kind of set up here is in a way where I kind of have the most HP and defense possible. Now I do take a little bit of a hit right here because of the max shield, but this one is kind of the lowest value here, and the max HP kind of makes up for that. But for every other part here, so defense, max HP and defense, these all kind of just have the most value I find, and just really helps me survive. And for the substats, you know, it's kind of up to you what you want. I like having all the kind of max, you know, stats here. So I have max shield, defense, max MP, max HP, and then just playing around with like these second ones. I'm still trying to figure out which one I like most. I'm not the biggest fan of the 4-piece right here because I think it kind of lacks, especially since you're probably going to be killing a majority of the enemies before, you know, it kind of procs and hits them. But having the 2-piece right here just helps kind of boost damage a little bit. For the Annihilation one, I decided to have 2-piece right here for more duration, and again, constant uptime on that third ability. Now on the bottom right here, you'll see all the stats I have. This one is for the HP version right now, and then I'll go ahead and switch to the MP version so you can see that. And then the boss version. So that does it here from my bunny build and the slight change I made to my thunder cage. There's not much I'll be changing about it. I think it's in a pretty good spot where I have good damage, sustain, and survivability. But I hope this guide helped you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.